Hello class, welcome back to RC355 at Boise State. We're jumping into week 6, so let's go. During week 6, we're going to be covering the topic of health administration and interprofessional teamwork. Undoubtedly, at your guys' careers, your jobs, everyday work, you are working with interprofessional teams every single day. Whether you're in an office, in ICU, a NICU, a sleep lab, you name it, you're going to be working with other professionals on that team. So in week 6, we're going to be discussing not only interprofessional teams, but also how healthcare administration functions into interprofessional teams. And when we look at our objectives for the module this week, yes, we're going to be discussing communication within interprofessional teams and how that affects outcomes. Of course, that's important. We're going to be discussing how the respiratory therapist can contribute to that teamwork. Most of you guys are already well familiar about all of that, and that's going to come pretty easily. So something that may be new to you is how effective healthcare administrators actually affect and foster that interprofessional collaboration. It's a lot deeper than you might initially think within the healthcare system, where interprofessional teamwork actually gets its root and its foundation. And it actually starts at the top in the C-suite and works its way down. Most cultural items within your facility actually perform that way. But most of the time, it's unseen, it's not evident to staff working at the bedside, to patients that are in the rooms, or to the family members that are visiting. It's something that really goes on behind the scenes. Then lastly, what we're going to do is apply a literature search in order to find the sources for your final project. Now, looking at your guys' outlines from last week, many of you already have a couple of sources that you're looking at, and that's fantastic. But we're gonna dig into this a little bit deeper and look for a few more sources to make sure you guys have plenty of sources for your paper. And then we're going to discuss each one of those sources. That way you're critically evaluating that source and you're able to verbalize to me how you're going to be using that source within your paper as well as your presentation. So of course we've got the Dupre text, chapter 10 this week. Just make another reminder note here that anytime you guys submit material, always use your Dupre text as one of your sources. Work that in there to some extent. A couple other web links and videos for you guys to learn from this week. Here, American Thoracic Society talking about team science and critical care. If we scroll down here, we see a couple of videos from respiratory therapists in Canada, interprofessional teamwork and that approach in the medical ICU and the surgical ICU. Some more good information here about why we need to work in teams. So again, all just kind of leading back to that teamwork focus for this week. Our student learning outcome for the week is number 4. Makes perfect sense, teamwork and interprofessional cooperation. One thing that Boise State is really priding themselves on is that when you leave this program, you are going to be a much different individual at the bedside, in the office, in the department, in the committee that you're working on, that you're going to be now a leader in that group that you're working with. You might be with a physician, nurse practitioner, nurses, aides, dietitians, PTs, OTs, speech, you name it, a couple other RTs. And we really want you to stand out and be a leader in that group. And so teamwork and interprofessional cooperation is an emphasis in this program, and that's why it's one of our student learning outcomes. Just briefly overviewing what our learning activities are for this week, a discussion board and quiz like normal. We're going to turn in the first draft of your final paper and continue to work towards that final video project. So a little bit of information about our discussion board this week. We're going to be talking about the role of the RT in interprofessional teams and healthcare administration. So obviously all of that reading that you guys did, all of these sources up here are all feeding right into the discussion board for this week. Moving down to the week 6 quiz, nothing new here, just some more information here to really test your knowledge of the material that we've been covering, as well as to provide you with feedback and knowledge through the quiz that you're going to be able to apply to your assignments. And then the main assignment and most of your work this week will come in that form of your draft paper. So this has got to be a full APA paper. We're talking title page, abstract, citations, references. You're using proper level header structure with primary level headers, secondary level headers, introductions, conclusions, the whole 9 yards. Everything that we will expect in a professional APA paper, you're putting all of those aspects together in this week's paper. You're going to upload that paper to me, and that's going to give me some time to look over it and provide you with some feedback so that you can turn the final copy in week 7. And then, of course, remember, in week 7, you also have that video that is due. And again, that video presentation is basically going to be you presenting that paper, that topic to us in a verbal, oral, live type of presentation. So just as if you were presenting it to a group of people in your facility. A couple of sources I want to kind of link you back to. First of all, when we're looking at our discussion board, remember that you do have to use APA citation and references in those posts, a minimum of 2 for the initial posting that you place, and then 1 per at least 2 responses. And then after you've submitted at least 2 responses that are properly cited and referenced, you can go ahead and respond to other students in the discussion board without worrying about citations and references. But since we're working on a final draft of our paper, again, this is a draft, next week is the final, and we're working towards that video project, I want to just highlight a few areas within the course one more time. This final project examples folder right here underneath YouTube and APA Help. This is going to allow you to take a look at a couple of examples of what a video presentation looks like. So I've got 3 of them listed here from students in the past. And when you look through these, again, there's a wide variety of projects here. Some very creative individuals, some people that really kind of took to some video acting and editing and really spent a lot of time doing that. And some other people that went creative in a different manner, in which the video is a little bit more plain as far as the creative content or the structure of the video, but it's using like a chalkboard and a whiteboard type of feature. And it was really, really well done. It's a great way to get your information across. So I really want you to take a look at these. Again, the focus isn't that you blow me away with some type of amazing creative content on YouTube, but I want you to be thinking about delivering information that you're presenting to an audience. You want to hold their attention. So you want to be a little bit entertaining. You want to be someone that people want to listen to. So think about that as you're presenting. Don't just read straight off of your notes. Don't read straight off your slides. This should be more than just a voiceover type of PowerPoint material. Really, let me see you presenting this material. Let me see your facial expressions. Let me see your body movement. Let me see your body movement and how you really interact with that audience. Also, I want to really highlight, and I've told you guys about this resource before, but since we're working on the final draft now, it's really important. If you haven't been using the APA template for Google Docs yet, click on that, go into Click File, make a copy of that, and save it into your own copy of Google Docs folder. That way, you've got a copy of that saved that you can use at any point in time. Do not edit this while it's still within my folder. Make sure you're making a copy of it first. Otherwise, when I go to work with this template and I see that it's been modified, I'm going to restore it back to its original version, and you're going to lose that work. So make sure you're saving your work in your Google Docs and not just working from one of my documents. It's really easy to do. If you have any questions, shoot me an email. Of course, you've got APA format guide, abstract guide, citations guide, all the things we've been working on thus far in this class, and the APA format tips video. If you haven't watched this yet, you really need to. Something you should have done week 1, but this is me going over an APA paper start to finish, letting you know all of the particulars inside of an APA paper. So make sure that you're looking at that, especially if you have questions. Maybe you've forgotten a certain specific from week 1 or week 2. This overview video will quickly help you to find that information once again. All right, we'll just jump back out here to our weekly modules folder. And I just really want to give you a sneak peek at week 7. If you haven't looked at that yet, we'll just take a minute here. A little bit of reading material, a couple more links to look at, looking at one more SLO. But really all you got to do in week 7 is put together a quick quiz, which is basically feedback to me on what you liked about the class, what you did not like about the class. And then the final essay, again, really easy. You've done all the work in week 6 on this already. You just got to add a couple of feedback changes that I've given you in the grading. Quick discussion board, which you're going to be looking at your fellow students' projects. So that's really easy. Kind of just give each other pats on the back and learn from the other students' presentations like they're going to learn from yours. And then the biggest aspect of week 7 is just turning in that final project video. And again, everything's listed here, how to do that. Here's that same folder as we saw before where it gives you examples of the final projects. And in case you guys forgot how to embed a video, you can click right up here on YouTube and Google Docs Help, and it will show you how to make and edit a video and then how to embed the video. But also remember, you can also use that mashups button that we talked about in the week 2 video overview. All right, class, that's all that we have for week 6. Let me know if you have any questions. Reach out to me via email or through the study hall in the discussion board. So lots of good discussion taking place in there throughout the entire class. Okay, make it a great week, and I'll see you in week 7.